For some people, you go and get super depressed and you give up on life, but the other person, like, I think what happened to me is you just get this insane desire that never ends and never fades, and you will never satisfy. And it is 100% a gift and a curse because I will never be done with the things I want to do, and they'll only get bigger, and I will always be consumed by my goals at the time. And I don't want that to change. This video, I want to talk about where my obsession comes from. The last video, I kind of talked about how I got it back, right? Because I kind of had a year or two where I wasn't my true obsessed self, but I was more obsessed when I was younger. And so I think it's worth noting where that started from when I was younger, um, because I think I'm pretty clear on where it comes from. The biggest thing it came from was soccer. I played soccer all my life. I played soccer, on Long Island. Most kids play, and I played really competitively. The youth team I was on in high school was like ranked number one in the country. Doesn't really mean anything, but back then it was a big thing. And I went to go play soccer at Binghamton University, which is a D1 team. Was really excited. And throughout my college career, I did 3 seasons of D1 soccer, 2 at Binghamton and 1 at a school, Quinnipiac in Connecticut. And I played probably 1 game. And the main reasons why are I was always hurt, had surgeries, had broken wrists, but also when I wasn't hurt, I was not good enough. I just wasn't playing good enough to be on the field. So I basically spent 3 seasons, which is like how many games are in a season? Like 20, sitting on the bench, watching other people play, cheering for them, celebrating, going into dog piles after a win. And the whole time I was fucking miserable. I hated being on the bench more than anything in the world because if you followed my content or my personality, I'm not on the bench. I'm not a person on the bench. I don't belong on a bench. Okay. And so being that way just completely kind of destroyed me. Like I was really quiet in the beginning of my college career because I wasn't playing. I didn't talk because I took it so personally. Even though it's not personal, it's sports. You are not your work. You are not your athletic performance. They're separate, but it is you. And I think for high achieving people, you take everything ridiculously personally. And so, you know, those 3 years, I didn't succeed. I had a good I was good in high school. I was good on my club team mostly, usually a starter almost always, and I was the captain of my high school soccer team. So I had a great career then. I was a leader there. I did some crazy shit with my high school team. I would give us pump up speeches. I would take us into the woods at pasta parties and do like little rituals, which kind of makes sense now why I started a run cult. But I it but yeah, in college I kind of lost that because I wasn't a leader. I wasn't even playing. And so that whole time, this obsession and this desire for greatness was brewing because I knew I had the energy. I knew that when I was going out for sprints in practice with the team, I was fucking dying and I would do well, even though I was a bigger dude. I would give everything out there. Even in training, I would give everything. And maybe that's part of the reason I got hurt. So I was always going, fucking all in. But that was a big piece. Before that, I would say in high school, even though I was good in soccer, I was really, really shy and lived inside my head a lot and had just no confidence. That's really what it is. I had I had such extreme ambition, but there was no output to prove it, right? I wasn't playing. So like there was no output. And when you don't have that, you become one, I think, kind of a bitter person. And you also become for some people, you go and get super depressed and you give up on life. But the other person, like I think what happened to me is you just get this insane desire that never ends and never fades and you will never satisfy. And it is 100% a gift and a curse because I will never be done with the things I want to do and they'll only get bigger and I will always be consumed by my goals at the time. And I don't want that to change. I don't. I don't think it will. But that's where mine comes from. It comes from just these prolonged years of not living up to my potential when I know I had this special intensity and energy that most people didn't have. That was the word my mom uses to describe me as a kid, intense. I always want to be all in everything I do, and I didn't know how to do anything else. This beanie, by the way, this is my Dark Place beanie. I wore this before my first marathon. I don't know. I don't really like wearing it in videos for some reason, but I wore this before my first marathon, like the whole day or week before, because when I put this on, I focus, feel warm and calm. It's like I'm safe because tomorrow I'm going to the dark place for 2.5 hours. So I'm like mentally preparing today. I'm basically running a marathon tomorrow. 22 miles is pretty close. Um, and so yeah, today's like pre-race day. I'm drinking my water, getting in carbs, gonna eat like 800 carbs today. But back to the obsession. And so it's very strange because I think if I had succeeded in soccer in college, I would not be doing, excuse me, I would not be doing anything I'm doing now. I would probably have gotten a normal job. I would have probably been living a normal life. I would have felt like I already won, I think. And I'm so glad that didn't happen. And maybe that's not the case. Maybe I would have just been ultra confident and ultra ambitious and would have already been ahead of where I am now. I don't know. There's no way to know. But I don't see a world where my ridiculous delusional goals exist without having those years of failure where I was just living inside my head. I was just reading and watching videos and doing all this stuff that made me the way I am. And so then the question becomes, how do you get obsessed if you didn't have those years of failure, right? If you didn't have a hard childhood, if you didn't, get hurt or something. It's interesting. So many successful people had a bad injury from sports. So many. I can guarantee you, can name a few right now that who just got triggered once they couldn't do the thing they were already doing. So like, how do you create that obsession without that failure? I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can. I think what you have to do is engineer that failure into your life. Figure out how to put yourself in situations where you cannot survive. You will not get through it because that is going to enable you to go beyond yourself and think beyond what you're currently doing. And that could be just reinventing your life. That could be moving to a new city. That could be reinventing the way you look, buzzing your hair like I do every 2 weeks now. It's like just completely restarting your life, I think, can make that. It's not failure. It's just ridiculous discomfort. And maybe that's even the better word, prolonged discomfort. It's delayed gratification to the extreme. That's what obsession is, because you never get the gratification. You never do. The gratification is in the delaying, which is a wild thing. And that's just another way to say like the journey is the destination, blah, blah, blah. But it really is. It really is. Obsession is about doing the work itself for the work and wanting nothing else. You can't wait to wake up because you just want to get back into the zone of your obsession. That is what makes life so beautiful to you. And if you can't do that, nothing is worth doing. Got a text from an entrepreneur I really respect, a really good friend, a great human overall. And he said, dude, your last video changed my life. And you are born to speak on camera. It is your gift. It is your calling. And I haven't spoken on camera until like 3 weeks ago, which is crazy. That's crazy to think about, whether or not it is actually my calling. It's the fact that someone says that the videos are changing their lives. That is an incredible feeling. And like, there's a very thin line with starting a new obsession between forcing yourself to do it and not forcing yourself, because obsession shouldn't be forced. But I do think there is a moment in the beginning where you're meant to do something and you have to force through the friction of getting the first video up. That was so hard. I mean, it wasn't hard, but it was hard in that it took me years to get the courage to do it, right? The day I knew I was going to do it, I was ready and I did it. And I had been practicing a little on short form, doing some reels, holding the camera to me. That's why I did those. And there was so much friction in that first moment, but now making these videos is near effortless. And the best videos I've made have actually taken some of the least effort. I've just sat down and ripped like this. This video, I think I would rate it somewhere in the middle of these sit down videos. But the best ones I did, I just sat down with no plan and just like one small idea to start with and built from there and ripped. And that is a cool feeling. Let's see these questions, see if I can answer a few more. There are some good questions. You should really go look. I like talking about I love that I just shit on recovery and fitness. Like, I don't want to be a fitness influencer. I kind of am becoming one, which like I'm trying to avoid. Like, not like my story shouldn't all be about fitness. They should be like a third athlete, a third artist, third entrepreneur. That's the goal. There are some good questions. Can obsession and romance coexist? Do you ever feel burnt out? That's a good question. Do I ever feel burnt out? The thing is, I have never experienced an obsession arc like this that I've been in the last 4 weeks, basically since I started these videos, where this extreme output requirement plus my marathon training is making me just forced to do so much because I have so little time throughout the day, right? Like 4 hours of the day are gone from YouTube and from running. And so I don't feel burnt out at all right now. I feel like I could keep going like this forever as long as I rest and eat. But I don't know, maybe. I think I do need some time on the weekends to like just chill for a little with a friend or whatever, because I don't get that during the week at all, I think that's what I might start doing because you can't just go full gas all the time, but maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe I can. I haven't really had that time to rest at all. I've just been going since I started this videos. I literally wake up, make stuff all day, and go to sleep when my eyes start closing. And that's a beautiful thing. So I don't feel burnt out right now. I feel burnt out when I'm doing the wrong shit, right? Like the right shit, you will go to sleep and you can't wait to wake up. You can't even fall asleep because you're so excited to wake up and just keep going. And that's how I felt the last few weeks because life just feels like this insane video game where I get to run and I get to make videos and I get to make content. And I'm just extremely blessed to be able to do that shit. Let's see more questions. Some of these questions are funny. Any tips on how to articulate your thoughts better? This is one that is just like I said, every day for the last 5 years, I basically posted all my good thoughts online. And sharing them via text or via audio is going to enable you to articulate them so much better because one, you're doing it nonstop and you're also getting instant feedback. I can tweet a thought and get literally instant feedback. And yeah, the way I write it affects the engagement, but you can get feedback on your ideas. The only problem is sometimes ideas are so good they get no engagement because they're too intricate and too deep that people, or they're too true that people are embarrassed to like them publicly. That's why some of the best tweets literally have 0 likes. And you're like, how does this not have more likes? This is so good, but you're like afraid to like it because no one else is liking it. Such a funny thing. So it's really like one of the opposite. The best content either has like 1 million likes or it has 0. There's like the in between, which is like 99% of content is just like a complete waste of your time paying. That's why the algorithms make money because people spend their time at the 99%. I like this question. How do you feel about creating butterfly effects all over the world? Your input is insane. I don't know if they meant output or okay, I guess they meant like my input to the world. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the running is a good example of that, right? I started running more because I'm hanging out with Hunter and Casey Neistat, and they are fucking savage runners, and I'm with them every day, and they're talking about the miles they're putting down, and I'm still like felt chubby and I'm slow, and I'm like, I need to get faster. I need to keep up with them. And now I think I'm faster than both of them. I mean, they're not really training right now, but regardless, they that's a butterfly effect for sure. And now I'm posting on social media every day, like, what am I doing with all my runs? And that is inspiring people to run. I'm getting tagged every day that people are running. They're going to the dark place. They're running a half marathon for the first time. They're signing up for races. That is the sickest thing ever. Right. And I also think something important I did is I gave these terms that people can use and recognize and create with their own content and tell other people about, like the dark place. The dark place is probably my favorite term I've ever made, potentially even more than like the obsession stuff. It is a core part of obsession. And I don't think I like it. I don't think I love it more than obsession, but it's like the best term for the dark place you go while you're running or lifting or just in life when you're trying to get out of like your rock bottom. It's dark down there. It's dark in rock bottom. And having that term just like enables people to share it. When you name stuff, someone can grab it and give it to someone else versus just this random idea that is like in the ether. Names make ideas tangible. You're able to hold them and give them to someone else. And that is really, really cool. And so I think that is like a big reason my stuff gets spread a lot. It's because I branded my life philosophy basically, right? I could have just not focused on obsession and just put out content and it'd be fine. But instead, I gave it a name. I gave it a meaning. I gave it a destination going towards obsession, becoming obsessed. I gave it an identity that someone can attach themselves to. And I think that puts your butterfly effects on steroids, right? Anyway, I've been talking for 20 minutes. I think we have enough footage here. I'll update you. Probably the next video will probably be after my run, sitting down somewhere like this. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow in the dark place.